How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I'm just going to do a pretty simple quick mission. It's called Stuck Trailer. I've got to go over to the other side of Black River. There's a curtain side trailer, which you don't really get them unless they're like part of the game missions. Yeah, you've got to get it really from the top corner and just take it down near the village to the trailer store, the trailer park, sorry. Yeah, I'm going to use the Voron AE for this one. Unfortunately, I'm now at a high enough level where I can use that little trick, like buy those tyres the same time as I press down. I've managed to get like the 15-inch tyres even with the lowered suspension. I was also able to do it, it's pretty handy, with the advanced winch as well, so I've got like the best winch on it. And yeah, we'll set off. Like I say, it's a bit of a quick one tonight because I've had a bit of a headache all night, so I didn't want to get stuck into a video that's too long just in case it, yeah, gets pretty bad and then I just have to abandon the video. But yeah, it was a nice little chilled mission tonight. It was a good excuse to take this thing back out and kind of compare it. I used it the other week, but it was basically stuck the other week, whereas now I've still got the same engine as I did before, but the engine's pretty punchy and actually quite nice in this. Yeah, I've got the high range gearbox and like the bigger tyres and stuff. The winch, I suppose, could potentially come in handy if I need it. But it was nice to see as well, because one thing I don't like about this Voron AE, is one of the few things I don't like really, is it's got very slow steering on it, but I reckon somebody told me back when I kind of reviewed this, and they're right, like on the lowered suspension, obviously then you normally have to have the smaller tyres. The turning on this is more reasonable in that situation, but then, because if anyone remembers from a while back, like you couldn't actually get the raised suspension for this for a while, because it ended up being on the Rift map. So when we eventually got Rift, which is pretty much the day, or the day before I reviewed this thing, I got the raised suspension. And then yeah, it was shockingly slow for like turning anyway, and I really didn't like it. I just kept running into everything. I believe they updated the steering at the same time then, so it was like a double whammy. But yeah, being able to actually keep the lowered suspension on it in the bigger tyres, it's still a little bit slow, but I actually think it does kind of make it a little bit more bearable for me personally, because it's definitely one of the things that put me off it mainly. And yeah, while I was here as well, it was a good excuse just to cut across the Black River map. I quite like this little section for a potential kind of real-world test of the trucks as far as the snorkels and how well they can go underwater. For this one, I'm guessing it's starting to float and it's kind of lifting all its weight off the front because it's really not gripping very well. I am having to fight the tide a little bit, but it's or the current, sorry, but it's not, I don't know, it's not that crazy. Like the Navistar I brought through here the other day absolutely just motored through there, and I had a ramped flatbed on that, so that had more weight to pull along and everything. As far as the snorkel goes in this, it's just about high enough. You'll see me catch a little bit of damage at the end, but yeah, it's just, for whatever reason, I believe it's floating and it's just not gripping down. I can't like power my way across there, so had to back up. Yeah, as well, it was nice to see some of you like the MudRunner gameplay yesterday. It was pretty cool going on that game, and yeah, there is certainly elements of that game that I believe they've like are pretty good, probably better than SnowRunner really. SnowRunner is by far like a solid leap ahead in terms of playability, replayability, just the layout, even little things like the gearbox, but the amount of missions you can do, all the different cargoes, the way that I can essentially go on this map and bring every single truck I own onto this map, whereas yeah, with MudRunner, because you had like the star system, some maps you can only have like 5 stars, and you can only take, well, a lot of the maps restrict you to 2, some give you up to 3 vehicles, but again, if you buy in like a 5-star vehicle, that's usually like spent the vast majority of your points. So yeah, there's many ways that SnowRunner is just a lot kind of better put together and thought out, but the actual core elements of MudRunner, as far as like the handling of the trucks go, just the weightiness of the trucks, the grip of the tyres, the way they kind of behave, it's hard to kind of put into words. It's just kind of a feeling when you're driving them. And it's not to say every truck is bad or worse or whatever in this SnowRunner game, but that's just what I've been saying. Out of, what is there, 46 odd trucks in this game, I don't know, there's probably around 10, if that are weighted quite, or handled quite realistically to me. Yeah, in MudRunner, I mean, I didn't go back through all of the trucks or anything like that, but I did choose a, I played on it the other day as well, and I went through a couple of the old trucks, my old favourites, and I was doing a little bit of downhill, drifting on the downhill map. And yeah, they just they just feel a lot more realistic. Like, that's what I think they need to sort out on this game. I don't know if they ever will though, because it seems a pretty easy fix. There's a few things in this game that seem like an easy fix, but the fact that they haven't done it by now 7 odd months in or whatever is yeah, it's not looking good that they're ever gonna do it really. I think they are just gonna leave that for mods to sort, which some ways good, some ways bad. It depends really, because then I also hear about limitations they do with the mods, like the Apache, for example, that DLC thing they added, that apparently they've been removing the mods where people have like upped the power or the speed or whatever they've done with it. So yeah, I'm not really too keen on that if that's the case. And fingers crossed as well, kind of partly going back to MudRunner, it'd be pretty cool if some, if not all of those vehicles could be modded and put into this SnowRunner game. Particularly, yeah, this game is in desperate need of like that K something skidder and the K700 on MudRunner. The skidder thing's got the push blade, the cranes are pretty cool anyway. The K700's got like a big massive grabber arm thing that you could probably pick scouts up and all sorts. It'd just be fun to mess around with. Yeah, it's quite interesting as well, because some of the trucks on MudRunner, as people have been saying in the comments as well, like this Voron AE and stuff, and the Tyres, these are all kind of like predecessors, I believe, to some of the trucks that were in MudRunner. A couple of favourites that people have mentioned, the C255, that was a bloody good truck. I remember using, that's one of the few names I can remember. The B131 as well, I'm sure that rings a bell on MudRunner. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that cost 2 stars, so it was quite a cheap truck that you could usually take with you, along with something, yeah, that's a bit more of a beast. And obviously like the E7310, the D535, whatever, they need to, yeah, it'd just be cool if they added them to this game really. Although I'm not 100% on this, but I'm fairly sure that when they made SnowRunner, they kind of built it from the ground up again, so I don't believe it's using the exact same like game engine or whatever it is you call it from MudRunner to this game, which could to a degree explain why there is certain differences. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it'd take a lot to fix in this game. Like now, for example, I've not got the best tyres on the thing, but this just doesn't really feel very realistic to me. It feels like I'm being over limited. And yeah, just doing little things like possibly upping the grip on the tyres overall. Again, potentially, I believe like the weight of some vehicles. This one's not too bad, but yeah, just little things like that that improve the situation. As to when they're actually bringing this update out, I've still not heard anything new yet. I'll probably have to have a little try and go back on the SnowRunner forums and see if I can find anything new out. But yeah, as far as I still know, it's November, and then the mods themselves for console I don't believe are still coming out until like sometime after Phase 2. I believe they originally tried to have them all together, but then yeah, I've heard off a couple of people that is, for whatever reason, it's not going to happen in time. So I think by now really I get where they were going with like this next Phase 2 is just going to be released in one lump, whereas like Phase 1 was kind of Part 1 and Part 2 of Phase 1. Considering how long it's taken by now, I think they should have just released one of the maps like a month ago at the beginning of October or something. Would have given us something to do, something else to mess around on for a month. So it probably wasn't a bad thing just to split them up into 2 parts. Because yeah, I know what's basically going to happen. We're all sitting around twiddling our fingers waiting for Phase 2 to drop, and then once it does, you've suddenly got 2 maps and a shed load more missions to do, which in and of itself isn't a bad thing, of course. But yeah, I just mean the fact that we've all kind of beyond patiently waiting by now for something new to happen, and then we're going to get like 2 doses of new stuff all in one. So once it's here though, it will be good. It'll keep us going for longer. It might get us through the Christmas period, we'll see. Anyway, right now, yeah, I've grabbed the curtain side trailer. I just smashed the suspension, which I didn't do it on purpose. I believe as far as the steering goes, with the larger tyres but the lowered suspension anyway, I believe it does probably help with the quickness of the steering a little bit on this Voron, but it still suffers with shallow steering overall, so yeah, it still bit me a bit at the end there. I'm just not very used to steering this slow. Like the Tyres, for example, is almost the opposite end of the spectrum. It's really quick steering. I will say though, in this game's defence, steering on MudRunner is painfully slow. Like, yeah, it's all in all, like, probably some of the best trucks on MudRunner steer about as slow as this thing, worst case. So yeah, I'll take what I can get, and it's not that bad on SnowRunner overall. Anyway, that's about it for today. Like I said, it's just a quick one though. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon.